There's a bee in my bonnet, hello, hello. A bee in my bonnet, hello. There's a bee in my bonnet, hello.
Hello and happy new year. Oh, it's finally 2021 and I think a lot of us are really happy to say goodbye to 2020. Last year, just before 2019 became 2020, I filmed a video, and in that video, in the end, I chose my word for the year 2020. And back then, I didn't know how much I was gonna need this word. I don't know what my goals are, but I think my word for 2020 will be brave, and being brave and taking risks, and kind of, I guess bravery is also about trusting your intuition, and so I think that's going to be my word for the next year. 2020 was definitely one of the most difficult years I've ever experienced, and probably a lot of you as well. But at the same time, as you know, also one of the happiest years, and I've had one of the best summers of my life last year. About a week ago, I got engaged, which, if you've been following along my journey this year, was definitely not in the cards for me. Considering I went through a breakup earlier last year, it's pretty amazing how much can happen in 1 year. So I thought I'd chat about some of those things. It's definitely been really intense emotionally and mentally, and so many things that I struggled with and was challenging for me, but at the same time, I feel like I learned so much. So I wanted to make this video and share some of the things I've learned, reflecting a little bit with you guys. And over on Instagram, I asked you to send some questions, or if you'd like me to chat about something a little bit more. One question was asking advice on how to get into medical college, which I appreciate the confidence, but I don't think I'm the right person to answer that. Although probably you just need to study a lot. I just found this house that is apparently abandoned, or it says that there's no permission to walk here, even though here I am. Well, speaking of houses, I suppose one of the biggest struggles or challenges this year, and one of the things that have taken so much energy, has just been the constant moving. So first moving from abroad, from London to Helsinki, in with my parents, and then again now in just a few months back, moving into a new home and renovating that home, and moving with a new person, a person that I've never lived with before. So there's definitely been a lot of like big changes in just like home, and home, well, especially this year being so much at home, has taken a lot of energy, because there's like constant adapting. And one thing that I think is quite important for me to feel good, like mentally, is to have routines. And then when you're constantly surrounded by chaos, more or less, and just constantly change, that has been quite difficult to adapt to. And while living at my parents, there was maybe more difficult because I didn't really have my own space, and they were all the time quite like they were around a lot, which I think was really nice. But then at the same time I felt like, I don't really have space or my own like things and all that. And now when we've just moved, it's really nice. I think our home is super cozy, and it's been fun to like make it our own together. And I think that's like maybe how I would like it to be when you're starting a relationship, that instead of moving in to the other one's place, that you like start a new home, or at least in my experience, that's been like the nicest, because then you just like start fresh. But at the same time, like things are still not really done, so we're like still renovating. So that's a little exhausting, like living in this constant feeling of like you're waiting, or it's not like done yet. And well, it just takes a lot of energy to be in a new place all the time and just adapting, and where you don't have your routines and your set ways of doing things. That just takes a lot of energy. What I've learned is probably that you just have to sort of like bite through and go through it, and sometimes just going to a cafe or just going somewhere and like having a change of scenery will help, and just like getting even small things done can feel like quite big things. But yeah, I really feel like I never want to move ever again, but let's see. I don't think that's going to be possible, but at least right now it feels like let's just stay here for a bit. Someone asks me if I have a support system for when it's challenging, and yes, I do, and I think it's so important, and it's probably something that I don't mention that often because you only see me here, but I have a really close relationship to my mom, so I will often call her or then speak to my sister, or well, now obviously my boyfriend or fiancee because we live together, and also then friends. And I think it's one of those things that when you feel really low or unmotivated and just like can't get anything done, it will depend. So sometimes I will just like phone my mom or my sister, talk to my boyfriend, and just like get some of the frustration out, and then suddenly I will feel better. Or then sometimes it's just I need to be by myself a little bit. And one other thing that I've also actually found a lot of comfort and just energy from is watching other YouTubers and creators or reading blog posts from other people who are in my field or doing something similar, or if it's not even something similar, and just getting some tips and energy from that can help a lot. So even if it's people that I don't even know, sometimes watching like somebody do a lot of like photo shoots, for example, then I get like this, like, oh, I want to go out and take photos, and I get really inspired by that. And yeah, sometimes just taking a break, not being on social media at all. I've now been a few weeks not at all on Instagram, just trying to catch up a little bit, and I felt like I started to repeat myself quite a lot and felt like I wasn't really on top, but like running behind all the time. So now I'm instead trying to plan a little bit, and also trying to get new ideas and inspired, like truly inspired, and not just for the sake of like, oh, I have to produce content and be like on all the time. So I think it depends on the situation, and then just having like these different tools to go to, or tools that sound so, I don't know, millennial, but having these different paths or resources that you can use, I think is good. So I don't know, maybe you have something else that you do, then leave a comment below and share your tips so we can all benefit them. I went and looked through my Instagram feed, and in May 2019, or from May 2019 to December 2019, I did 16 collaborations on my Instagram. Now, in 2020, between May and December, so the same time interval, I did 1. Fair to say, Corona and moving from London to Helsinki wasn't great for my influencing career. Like basically lost all my collaborations on Instagram. I did do some on YouTube, so it was really lucky that I had this YouTube channel, which allowed me to do some sponsored videos and content, and also like getting the ad revenue from that. And then but yeah, so basically I'm telling you this because somebody asked if Corona impacted me financially, and I do think or I know that some of the brands definitely didn't have a marketing budget because of Corona. And I think, well, for me personally, there were quite a lot of collaboration reach outs to me, but they were all brands that were located in the UK and in London. And since I wasn't there anymore, I couldn't do those. Like for Christmas, there was this Christmas movie, but it would only air in the UK. And I was really excited about it. But then when they found out that I don't live in London anymore, they just couldn't do it. And like other similar opportunities that I missed because I wasn't living in the UK anymore. So of course that felt a little bit sad in a sense, or like I worked so hard, and like now just because I'm not in the same place anymore, but my work is as good, so why should that impact the work I got? But on the flip side of that, like the summer was very like I had like very little work and felt like, oh, what's gonna happen? But then that did allow me to have more time to plan my course and to really go for it and do a course, which I've been wanting to do for a while already, and launching that and then seeing that I have the ability to make something that people actually will want to buy. That has been like a huge thing to me, to get the self-confidence and like finally trusting myself and my abilities, that I have something to offer, and that I can make my own product. So that has been like a huge thing for me, and that's also maybe one of the lessons I've learned now, is to try to plan more long-term goals. No, not long-term goals, long-term projects, and maybe some bigger projects. Like until now, it's been very much like, okay, the next Instagram post, then the next YouTube video, and like constantly running. And now I'm trying to look at the bigger picture and seeing like, okay, what is it that I actually want to share and maybe teach, and the knowledge that I could have, or some of the skills or energy or things that I would want to bring into this world that maybe somebody else would benefit from, and trying to look at it from a bigger picture and not be so just like caught in the numbers and trying to all the time think like, oh, but I have to engage all the time and be on and be there and stay consistent, which those are really important, but I think I'm maybe going into a little bit of a different phase now. So I've done that for almost 4 years now, and now I think it's time for me to step up and, well, I don't know, it sounds very American, but like play bigger. And for me, what that means is to be more confident in my own abilities and to go for the dreams of really having my own products and courses. And well, I also did my own merch this year, which was really fun to design, and just trying new things and not think that I only have to do sponsored work with brands, but that I actually can make my own things. And that's also, in a way, I feel better promoting those and talking about those and marketing those, because those are all the skills that I've now gained from doing all the sponsored work. So as you know, I've been sharing quite a lot about my love life this year, which I've never really done before. And it started out with the breakup and trying to get over that, and being single, being lost and not really wanting to have any new relationships, to then going on a Tinder date that changed everything, and now being engaged. And all that like in 1 year is pretty insane and pretty intense to go through, I can tell you that, just emotionally. And somebody asked me or wanted to know more about like the engagement and how I knew that this was the one. And well, I think there's like a combination of things. I think by now, because I've had a few relationships like as an adult, so I think I was more ready to know what it is that I'm looking for, and recognizing that in another person, like when we met. And maybe, well, I don't know, like how do you meet each other? Like how do people find each other? And I was also thinking back when I was single, for the brief period that I was single, just like thinking like, how do people even find each other? Like, is it even possible to find somebody that you like, that likes you back, and that you like enough that you want to spend so much time together? Because obviously when you're in a relationship, you spend a lot of time together. So not only like all the like kind of physical attraction and all the sparks, but then also like having common values and maybe some common interests, even though I don't think it's necessarily to be that similar, although we are pretty similar. Like, and I've never met anybody that is so similar to me, which is kind of strange and like a really new thing. And I think that's why it's also part of the attraction. Like, I remember on the first date, we were just like going for a walk because of Corona, like no bars or restaurants were open. So we were just like walking in the summer. And then at one point we had already like been chatting and walking for like a few hours, and he told me this story about like these little goats that are really cute, and that he had been on a trip, and then one of the goats had like jumped in front of the road, and then he kind of demonstrated it, like when you talk and you like explain the story, and then he was like, and then the goat jumped up like this, and he did like that gesture exactly in a way that I could do. Like, I somehow recognized that, like, oh my god, like that's something that I could totally do, and exactly with kind of that like ta-da. And I remember thinking like, whoa, this is unexpected and this is new, and just feeling like really giddy about it. And also on that same first date, he told me this other story which I found so funny, and just properly laughed, like really not faking it at all, and I couldn't hold myself from laughing. And that was exactly some of the things that I was looking for, like just having that humor and connection, and that you can just also like put yourself out there, like the way he did on that first date, kind of making fun of himself. I really appreciate that quality in people, and I think that's very brave and like shows that you're really confident in yourself and that you're not trying to like boast or be something that you're not. So like those small things, like immediately in the beginning I felt like, okay, there is something here. And well, obviously then like also thinking that he was really good looking and these kind of things. But like recognizing those things, like maybe a few years ago I wouldn't have recognized those, and that they are so important that I could sort of see already, like, okay, here are some things that I'll probably get along with this person. And even though like every relationship will have its ups and downs, especially if you're together for a long time, so then like seeing those things, like, okay, where can I maybe compromise the things that aren't so important for me? For example, like keeping the house tidy, and if there's socks lying around, like I don't care so much, I'm messy myself. But then other things like being spontaneous or like laughing together are really important to me. I think my word for this year is gonna be, if for 2019 it was brave, maybe this year it's going to be, I was gonna say patience, but I don't know, I feel like that's maybe a little bit of a boring word. So it's gonna be focus. Focus, that's I think a good word. Okay, I changed my word. It's gonna be trust, and namely trusting myself, and that the decisions that I do are the right ones. And there's this quote that says, trust the timing of your life, that is just rings a chord with me. And I like to think of that, especially when things are tough, to think that there is a reason for this, and just trust the timing of your life. And especially, patience, because I tend to be a little bit impatient. I'd love to hear what your word for this year is. Happy 2021. We're gonna do this, brand new year. The struggles aren't over, and to everybody who's in lockdown, I send you lots of energy, and let's just hope that this year is gonna be better. Can't be much worse than last year. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.